Left of the box. I've covered stories from the National Post on this channel a few times already, and one quite recently with the Sweeney, I forget her first name, basically the boobies thing, the whole, oh, there's a white woman with boobies. We can now say white women are beautiful. Haha, your own left. We've owned the left by saying a beautiful woman is beautiful. Haha. That was the National Post that did that. National Post also regularly has anti-trans articles. They also were the ones posting in support of Judy Gold's performance of the stand-up comedy fundraiser for the Friends of the IDF. In other words, the National Post is a right-wing rag, and everything they do on it is very biased and skewed and blah, blah, blah. Another case in point. National Post, first reading, Supreme Court decision says that the word woman is confusing and unfortunate, and this was causing a bit of a stir on Canadian Twitter. And of course, like all the comments under this are like, oh, this dehumanizes women. Now we're supposed to be called a person with a vagina. This decision alone should be enough to remove all authority from the Supreme Court. It's based off a easily unproved discriminatory fantasy, blah, blah, blah. Lots of people quote tweeting this like, oh, freedom of speech. They're trying to cancel the word woman and on and on and on based from this headline. And I haven't read the article, but I'm sure it fits in line with what this is saying, that the Supreme Court is saying the word woman is confusing and that it's unfortunate. However, that is a severe misread of the situation. And this person spells it out a little bit more. Content warning on here, there's going to be talk of sexual assault. So from Peter McLeod, this is wildly deceptive and seems to be a blatant attempt to spin a niche argument about legal errors into a culture war fodder. The Canadian Supreme Court did say the term a woman in a ruling was confusing, but the problem was with the a, not woman. In short, there was a case where a woman said she woke up to discover a man penetrating her. The man said she was mistaken. The trial judge wrote that it is extremely unlikely that a woman would be mistaken about that feeling. The man appealed, saying the judge had committed a legal error. The term a woman equals any complainant, so the judge was making a speculative assumption about the generalized human behavior that was not grounded in evidence. The Supreme Court found that while the a woman phrasing was unfortunately worded, the trial judge was not making a generalized statement, but rather grounding his findings in the specific woman's testimony. So the issue here was the perpetrator of this violent crime was trying to say, well, the judge was saying that, speaking on behalf of all women, that all women would know this, and if it's all women, then you how can you specifically say this woman or something of that sort? Whereas basically, like, the judge should have said, it's highly unlikely this specific woman in this case would be mistaken about that, instead of trying to make a generalized statement about all women. Because how can you prove that? How can you prove all women would know that this is an issue? How can you do that? And that's what the scumbag was trying to get away with. The court uses the word woman 27 times in this decision. Hopper completely fabricates the insinuation that the court was saying the judge should have used person with a vagina instead. You can read the decision yourself here. So basically, the people writing this article was saying, oh no, they used the word woman instead of person with vagina. Right-wing heads explode. This is horrible. Our Supreme Court is trash. When it's like, no, that had nothing to do with it. Nothing. It really was nothing to do with it. It is, again, just the way the media will twist stories to go with whatever they want. And the National Post is particularly bad for this right-wing framing. And this isn't even framing at this point. This is just outright blatantly misleading. It is purposeful in what it's doing. And Faye Johnstone is just saying, never underestimate the willingness of a rich, cis, conservative, gay people and so-called allies to sell at the rest of us. So Melissa Lantsman is an MP here in Canada and conservative. And she is replying to this, let's click here. So she is actually replying, quote tweeting to this National Post article, saying there's nothing confusing about the word woman. It's common sense. It's not hateful, bigoted, wrong, or unfair in any way. This is just complete nonsense that moves nothing forward. It's not progress. Here's a definition from the Oxford English Dictionary. So here we have politicians feeding into this right-wing framing, when again, the issue wasn't with the word woman, it was with the word basically one letter. That was the issue, was a single letter, not the word woman.